I'm Mark Dauber. I'm a photographer, and I've been teaching photography for almost 50 years, since I was a soldier in the Army in photography school. I want to talk to you about the iPhone camera today and why it's one of my favorite cameras of all the cameras I've used over that entire 50-year time. And one of the reasons it's so much of a favorite of mine is it's always with me. I virtually always have my phone with me, and so I always have a camera with me. And what I want to show you today is just how good that camera is and how simple it can be to do a few things to improve your pictures, make them look maybe a little bit more like what you're wishing you could get from this very versatile piece of equipment. Start with, I assume you know how to open the camera. That is to get to the camera. In photo mode, notice that my glasses in the foreground are correctly exposed and in focus because I pushed my finger down on that spot and held it there. Now watch if I do the same thing here up above the glasses in the area of the swimming pool and the plants. Now it has auto exposure and autofocus locked in that area. And that's what the AE and AF mean, is auto exposure, autofocus locked. Normally it just focuses on whatever it thinks is the appropriate subject. But in this case, we can change that so that it's where we want it to be focused. So I'm going to do it again down on my glasses this time. And again, notice it says AE, AF lock. Now if you see the little star right next to it, there's a bright little, looks like sunshine. If I slide that up, I increase the exposure, as you see. If I slide it down, I can decrease the exposure. So now I've controlled focus and exposure myself. Notice how the glasses are sharp in focus, but the trees and the shrubbery back in the other side of the pool are not. I'm going to now touch and hold. It says AF lock, and notice that's a pleasing and proper exposure for that part of the picture. Simple technique, very easy for you to control, and it gives you a lot of variety in your photography. The near far focus effect is a lot more powerful than some of the other methods of just letting the camera do what it wants itself. Now I'll turn that off, and you can see that as I move the camera around, it tries to adjust and does a great job of it to exposing correctly for the scene at hand. Now let's take a look at the top above the actual image or the screen area of the picture area. You notice in the upper left hand corner there's like a lightning bolt with a slash through it. That is your flash, and you can set it to auto, on, or off. I have mine, as you see, set to off, but I can turn it on and I can put it on auto. I leave it off because I don't want a flash going off unless I intend for it to. Now let's look at the next little symbol to the right of that one, and that is called live view. And live view I have off. There's a slash through it, as you see there. I can turn it on, and what that does is when you take a photograph, it's actually going to take a short little movie, so that if you take a picture in that mode, that picture, if I then pull it back up and put my finger over it, it will show a short little film including that picture. I'll come back to that in a little bit more in a little bit. Let's go to the right again. The next item is a self timer. It is also set to off, but I could set it to 3 seconds or 10 seconds. 10 seconds would give you time to walk around and maybe get back in a group picture with some other people. I'll leave it off also. Then the last item to the upper right is a simulation mode, or think of it as back in the day with film, you could put different kinds of film in your camera. So you could put here what's called a vivid film effect, and it really accentuates and pumps up the color. I'd use it cautiously. Vivid, warm, just scroll through them. If you find one you like, you could use that. And here's mono, and I use that quite often because I like black and white photography. So if I push mono mode and then just tap the screen, it will stay in that mode, I'll push back up here. And so now I'm in black and white mode, and I can use my same effects, touch and hold, and to lock the focus and the exposure. And if you notice there, the little earbud pod is in sharp focus. The trees are not, but if I touch up here, I get the trees in sharp focus and my foreground not so sharp. In a nutshell, that's about the simplest part of how to use this camera. Those controls are the most useful controls and the ones that you'll find yourself probably using almost all the time. So welcome back. I'm Mark Dauber, and now we're going to talk about what to do with your photographs once you've taken them. And back in the day, you know, you would take a picture and then you would go into the dark room or send your film off and have it processed or developed. And now we call it post-processing, but we're doing the same thing. You can't do much to make a bad picture good, but you can do a lot to make a good picture better or great. And that's where post-processing comes in. And now we don't need a dark room in order to do this work. And I can tell you that it's just stunning what it used to take in the darkroom days just to see what a picture would look like if it was a little bit lighter or a little bit darker or a little more contrasty, or if you burned and dodged certain areas to make them lighter or darker. We have so much control now, and that's really what an artist wants, is control over their medium, whatever the medium is. Now we have that control, and it's in our pocket, it's in our phone. So I'm going to show you how to take a photograph that I've made and improve it. And what I don't mean to imply is that you should do what I do to every picture by any means, because that's not the case. What you want to do is just consider the things that could improve your photograph, that can make it better. And that can be everything from making it lighter or darker or more colorful or monochrome, black and white, no color, to cropping it, maybe eliminating something that doesn't add to the picture in the first place. So I'm going to show you how to do these things with your iPhone using the native photography editing program that comes with it. It's in Photos. And I'll also show you how to use another app that I use a lot, and that's a free app that you can download from the App Store called Snapseed, S-N-A-P-S-E-E-D. Amazingly, it's a free program, and it's very powerful. So let's go look at a photograph and see what we can do to make it better. Okay, so I'm going to look at some photographs I made yesterday out in their garden, and I'm going to pull one of these up, and let's take a look. This is it. And let's see, which one do I really want to use? Let's try this one. So I tap on it, and if I go up here and tap Edit, I'm now given some choices. The first one is this magic wand, which is an auto improvement feature, so to speak. And if we touch it, we'll see, it looks like it made the picture a tiny bit lighter. No big deal. But let's just slide through here. I'm going to run my finger across these options, and you'll be able to follow. This one's called exposure. And if we move our finger below it, you'll see we can make the photograph lighter or darker. And season to taste, but I'll say I like it right there. Now this is a setting called brilliance. And again, like season to taste, I think I kind of like the way that looks right there. And let's go to highlights, and that'll be the brighter parts of the picture that are affected by this. So again, I'm sliding my finger back and forth across these options and just choosing what feels good, what I like. There's no right way or wrong way to do this. Now, obviously you can follow along. We're doing contrast, brightness, and I'm not sure how that's different than brilliant, but there you go. Black point's going to have to do with where the darkest areas, where the black point, so to speak, is. Saturation, use carefully. As you can see, you can completely desaturate the image, or you can make a really overblown. And saturation is a setting that I see, in my opinion, overused. You just can get carried away with it. Everything doesn't need to look like it's neon. Warmth. Most images benefit from a little extra warmth, but I again caution you against going too far. But if the point is, slide your finger back and forth so that you go too far, and then edge back to a setting that you might like better. Tint will change the color a bit. I'm going to leave that alone. Sharpness, I don't think we need much of, but you can give a little more sharpness. Definition is I think what this is doing is changing the mid-tone contrast. Pretty subtle, but you can work with that. We shouldn't need noise reduction. And a control that I like a lot is vignette. Vignetting means it's darkening the area around the image, and I'm going to choose to darken the outside borders of the picture. You see how the edge, look at the edge of the picture. If I make it just a little darker, don't overdo it, but I think that improves the photograph a bit there. Now, when I'm happy with my adjustments, I can just click Done, or there are other settings that I can alter. For example, I'm not going to click Done yet. I'm going to go to this crop button down here, and this will allow me to move the actual part of the image that I'm going to see. And there are presets available here also. But I want to just maybe crop out some of this and put the image a little off center. And let's say I'm happy with that. I can now go to this center, 3 overlapping circles. And this allows you to use some presets that are built into the iPhone. And you may not like any of these, but they're available to you. Here we are making this a monochrome image, something they call Silvertone, and the noir look. When you use these, for example, if you use this Silvertone, you'll need to go back in and now darken the image a bit more than it is as that setting would leave it. But I'm going to go back to the original. I think that looks great. And I'm going to click Done. So now you've taken an image and you should have been able to improve it. Again, we go zooming in. It's amazing the detail these cameras will capture now. And one thing I'll do sometimes, if I crop something like that and I like it, if I press the right-hand side button on the side of my phone, iPhone 12 Plus, and the top volume button, I actually make a screen capture. I have now made a photograph of my photograph. And I can, again, crop this to suit. And I can click Done, and I'll have that image saved. And I'll choose Save to Photos. I can also take this image, and down here in the lower right, if I take the heart, I'm telling it I want it to be one of my favorites. And that's convenient for me to find images that I know I may want to work on later, or email or print. I can also tap this button in the lower left, and it's going to give me the option to send this picture to someone who is in Messenger or email, or if someone's near me that has another iPhone, I can airdrop it to them promptly without going through mail. I can post it to Instagram, Facebook, all sorts of things. So let's close that out. And that's the basic editing tools that come with your phone, with the camera and the photo app that's already built into your phone. Now, I do want to show you also another app that I like to use, and that's an app called Snapseed. And I'll pull that up by SN, and there it is. Snapseed is a free app that is available for you to download from the App Store. So I'm going to select the photograph that we were already looking at. I'm going to choose to open it in Snapseed. So let's get back to Snapseed. And so there it is. Now, in Snapseed, you've got some presets here at the bottom that you can roll through. But I'm going to take it from the last edit that's already in. Click yes, and I'm going to click Tools. And under Tools, you're going to see a whole lot of different options of things you can do. We can tune the image, which is what we basically just got through doing in our photo app. You change brightness, contrast, saturation, ambience, highlight, shadows, and warmth. And we've already done that, so we'll go back to Tools again. We'll say we're happy with that, but go back to Tools. Now, there are a lot of things you can do here that are not available in your photo app. And some of these are presets, some of them are just tools. Okay, I want to show you a photograph that I can take something out of using one of the Snapseed tools, and that's going to be the repair brush. So I've got a photograph open. I'm going to go to Tools, and over here on the left side, 3 down, it says Healing. So I've opened the Healing Brush tool. Now, in order to use this brush, what I want to do is zoom in. So I'm using my 2 fingers to spread the image apart. And I'm going to take little Gracie out of this photograph by just rubbing my fingers over her area, the area that she's on. And there you go. So now, you might want to take a shadow out also. That's a little better. So now when we zoom back to the normal viewing range, little Gracie's not there anymore. Let's also go show you a few other tools while we're at it. So first of all, we're going to click that check box at the lower right-hand corner and export that picture, save a copy. I'm going to use save a copy, which creates a copy with changes you can undo later if you want to. So you see it's writing, this says successfully saved. So let's look at tools again, and let's find something else that you might enjoy working on. Well, of course, if you want to convert your picture to black and white, you've got literally a black and white choice. And if I punch that, you'll see down at the bottom of the screen now it gives me choices of different black and white looks. That's neutral, contrasty, bright, dark, film look, they think, and one where we can just darken the sky a little bit. So anyway, pick one of those if you want. I'll go ahead and X out of that. I don't really want to turn it into a black and white picture this time. We go back to tools. You got another black and white look called Noir, and it gives you more of a classic old film look, just a little more contrasty with black shadows that are darker. But they've got a lot of choices here. Just pick something you like, and you know, some look will work right for some image, and others really just don't work well. Let's go ahead and back out of that again. Go back to tools. There's a choice for drama, so you can see what kind of crazy. But you know, again, there may be some one image that effect would actually be effective with, not this one. Let's go back to tools. There is a section for lens blur. This one can be useful. As it opens up with a circular blur, and if you put your 2 fingers on it, you can stretch it or shrink it. And so this is especially useful in something like a portrait. And I'm going to use my fingers. I've got 2 fingers on the screen. You can't see that, but I'm rotating that around. But if you down at the bottom, you see there's a blue circle with a dot in it. If you touch that, it converts this into a linear blurring tool. And this would allow you to, you can see here, we're making everything in the background beyond that dot go way out of focus. And I can take my 2 fingers again and spread them apart or open them and change where the blur line starts and stops and how abruptly it starts and stops. And we'll cancel out that one too. Anyway, the point here is for you to not be afraid of these tools, know about them, but play with them, experiment with them. You're not using film, you're just burning some electrons. It's not costing you anything to try this, but don't be afraid of breaking. I get sometimes in my workshops, students asking, well, what will happen if I do this? Or what would happen if I did that? Well, do it and find out.